So already the chant has gone up and they haven't kicked off yet. Now they have from Cronin. Steve Guerin, member of the successful Canterbury side in their grand final victory. Jarvis. Roy Masters. He's putting a scrum down, Roberts. Fed by Sterling, won by the Eels. Taylor standing up adjacent to the scrum base. Price to dummy half. Sterling's left, Edge's right. Sterling back with Price. Tries to burrow through. He's almost gone through. Got a pass away. Good ball. Kenny tackled 9 metres out. The Eels have hit them with a tornado early. It's gone to Sterling. Across to Muggleton. Muggleton is taken by Paul Morris. Cronin to dummy half. Looks at Sterling. Says, what are we doing? Hits the blind for one. Peter Wynn. Met by Stone. Dummy half edge. Sterling. Mears. Put to ground by Graham Wynn. 5 gone for the Eels. Sterling the man to watch. This man swept the ball to Kenny. Short ball, Cronin. Zip has come into the play. It's gone to Kenny. They'll score. Neil Hunt has scored. An embarrassing try, really, for St George, but one heck of a try for Parramatta. Oh, did they put it together, or what did they do? And I didn't even have a chance to welcome my co-commentator, Bill Anderson.
Well, it only took 1 minute and 30 seconds for Parramatta to post first points, and when we watch it on the replay, we'll see that St George were always short on this defensive side. Brian Johnson, the fullback, filled in the line to try and cover the overlap, but he couldn't do it. Ellis stood well in the tackle, got the ball back to Kenny, timed a beautiful pass on to Hunt, and over he goes to score the first blood for the game.
See it again on the camera that's picking up the action out of the M.A. Noble corner, ground level. Kenny to Cronin, and then Ella was particularly deep and then turned it back inside for Kenny, and then it was just a case of Neil Hunt strolling across, but it was beautifully executed. Parramatta 4-0. Neil Hunt, one of the most underrated wingers in the game today. There's plenty of good ones about, but this man, Hunt, he has the, I suppose, unenviable task of playing on the opposite flank to Eric Growth. Cronin from the touchline, 22 out. Little breeze, he's missed it well wide. Breeze, if anything, is going across the ground from the members to the showground. 4-0 Parramatta. A pleasing start for the Parramatta coach, John Mooney. But he realises, as I guess Manly does now more than ever, rugby league doesn't take 14 minutes, it takes 80 to decide.
I think that try shows us what a changeable game football is. There's no doubt that St George were going to take it up for 3 or 4 tackles, and then Graham Wynn was going to do what he's been brought into the side for. He was going to drive it downfield to Paul Taylor, the Parramatta fullback, who doesn't return kicks. It wasn't to be. A simple forward pass to Craig Young. Parramatta won the scrum, and they've come up with the first blood.
Edge plays it just outside the 22. Wynn goes ahead. Gain of about 10 metres. Taylor to dummy half. Sterling to first standoff. Then Muggleton. Quick hands to Jerd. Jerd put down by Paul Morris. Craig Young went in heavily in the tackle. Jerd looks at him as if to say, what else have you got? Kick in general. Players beaten. Brian Johnson. It'll be a scrum. Midway 22, halfway. St George is into the ground. And the Eels fans roar. The NEC replay, Brian Johnson looked like he had it, and then he just lost his footing there, as you may have seen. St George scrum feed, out the same tunnel, he wants it again. Edge couldn't get into the scrum, so he's got no hope. St George win it. Haddock pulled down by Mears. Played back to Dowling. He tries to make ground, makes about 5. And this is where the Parramatta side will display if they're ready or not for this semi-final confrontation. The area of defence. Johnson, the fullback, in. Wynn comes across the top. Kenny was there. Johnson to play it. Still his own side of the halfway. O'Grady passes, finds Young, gone to Haddock. Haddock is met there by Muggleton. They smother him up. And Saints have used 4 tackles, and they've gone about 2 metres forward. Dowling passes, finds Jarvis, then to Young. Young spins off, gets a pass away, finds Dowling. Dowling's run into trouble, but the referee has ruled the pass forward, and he'll put a scrum down with a Parramatta feed just on the St George side of halfway. Parramatta winning thirds 14-8. Balmain had a tremendous win over Manly, 34-4 in reserves. And Ron Ryan had a tremendous game. Gee, he had a big game in reserves, Ron Ryan, today. Played by Sterling. Taylor gave it to Price. Price takes it ahead, met there by Dowling and Young. Dummy half Steve Edge, playing against his old club, of course. Now it's Jerd, takes it up, meets them. Jarvis dealing it out, and Jerd to get up and play it. Midway 22 halfway, Saints into the ground to Sterling, run around dummy with Cronin. Cronin takes it up, and he's tackled. Still midway halfway and 22 line. St George's into the ground. Played back to Peter Wynn. Blindside dummy half run. Picks up Taylor. Gets inside 22. Finds Neil Hunt. He's tackled. They're only about 15 metres out. Opportune time to try the bomb, I would suggest. Sterling is ready for it. There's Sterling. There goes the bomb. And there goes the blue and gold rush. They're going through. Test for Johnson. No pressure eventually. No pressure eventually for Johnson. But still, it's all Parramatta as Graham Wynn makes a big run 15 metres out from his line.
Ray, Parramatta have made 2 breaks. They've both been on this left-hand side of the field. And for the high camera shot that we've got, I've noticed that the St George centre, Chris Johns, St George play a pattern defence called left and right centres, and he's not getting outside of Steve Ella. He's marking up as the right centre, but he's letting Ella get way outside him, and that's creating the overlap.
Played by Young, out by the 22. Here's the kick from Graham Wynn. Muggleton's gone for the charge down. This will be play on. It's with Kenny. Gone to Cronin. They'll score again. Parramatta have scored again. Oh dear, if ever you've seen a great advertisement for marker charge down defence, and that's what it's called. When a team wants to kick to clear, you've got to have a marker and second marker prepared to get out of that position and charge down. Muggleton did it beautifully. The ball is still alive. A lot of people didn't realise this about 12 months ago when Sterling did it here at the cricket ground. And then it was just simply a case of pick up by Kenny, pass to Cronin and put it down. The Eels are absolutely having a beautiful start to this game.
Everyone in Sydney that follows football knew that Graham Wynn was included in the St George team in order to kick the ball. So did John Muggleton. He charged through, knocked the kick down. Brett Kenny picked it up. Graham O'Grady missed a tackle on Kenny. He slipped the ball to Cronin, who did the rest.
Nothing more to be said. Cronin, an 82.3% success rate, has a kick from 2 metres in from touch on the 22.
2 Parramatta tries from 2 St George mistakes. One a drop ball that resulted in a scrum, and that one a charge down, and that's what semi-final football's all about.
So the tries came after 90 seconds and 7 minutes. This breeze is doing funny things. Every time I look at the flags on top of the Pat Hill stand, they're going in a different direction. But I think what I said to you earlier is right. It's going straight across the ground, this breeze, and really, it wouldn't blow your hat off. It's a nothing breeze. Cronin's kick, high, long, looks all right, but just away, and Parramatta are leading St George in the NEC big game and the second of our semi-finals by 8 points to 0 and away to a blistering start.
I don't think I'll write St George off, but particularly after yesterday.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would be prepared to do that. Paul Morris to start for St George. Deep into the corner, there were plenty of players there. Taylor's given it to Growth, and here goes the big fellow. He's got all the St George forwards after him, but he's reached the 22. Dummy half Taylor. Taylor makes a run of about 7 or 8 metres, and that's a lot of ground to make in a forward direction from dummy half this early in the game. They've hurt Taylor too. It's out to Sterling. He decides the little chip is on. Muggleton may get a favourable bounce. And he's got a penalty out of it. He got a push in the back, Muggleton. Roberts was right alongside the incident. I saw Muggleton go, and I thought to myself, well, he may be faking, a la Tommy Bishop and one bloke called R. Fulton. Watch it again. Muggleton looks like he'll get this ball. He's going faster than the rest of them. And then, well, you've got to take it on a bit further. Sterling's little chip, head on. Let's see it again, and maybe we can roll a little bit further onto this disc. But Muggleton was there, and Roberts obviously has seen something that replay didn't. Maybe it was a trip, I'm not sure.
It was a good variation of play by Peter Sterling. Brian Johnson, the St George fullback, was back particularly deep, waiting for the long kick. St George had no cover defence. Graham O'Grady, their sweeper, was in the line. Sterling picked that, chipped over the top, and they've come up with a penalty.
Tap to be taken by Parramatta's Peter Sterling. How's Paul Taylor? Bill, put your binoculars on him, would you? It's with Sterling, a dummy to Wedge, a dummy to Jerd, given to Muggleton, on to Taylor. He's all right, no need to put the binoculars on him.
Well, there's the answer.
Yeah. Mayers to play it, tackled by Jarvis. They're putting it all together, Parramatta. They've kept a few moves in reserve, I'd say, for this one. Here's Price now, 32 metres out from the St George line. Already St George have been shell-shocked with 2 Parramatta tries. Through Sterling, onto Kenny. Kenny looks for an opening. Ooh, he could have passed, but Ella had gone.
And Chris Johns had left his man again. He'd gone in to assist in a tackle, and it wasn't necessary. He's just going to have to sit on Steve Ella and not leave his shoulder all day.
Steve Edge to play it now. Edge will play it 32 metres out from the St George line. Knocked backwards, says the referee. Well, it came off the foot, I think referee Roberts said, in respect of the dummy half Taylor. And this is 5 tackles. Sterling plays the ball. Taylor should be here somewhere. No, Muggleton's there. He puts up the bomb, Muggleton. And Johnson's under pressure. Parramatta are going through hard. Good take by Brian Johnson. I must admit, I've got a soft spot for this bloke when it comes to taking bombs. He's taken heaps of criticism in his career. This year he's been, I think, very safe under bombs, but I don't seem to see anybody telling us that he's good under bombs. Plenty of people were quick to tell you he was a bit shaky under them when he was a bit nervous on them.
John Money's made a great tactical move, in my opinion. He's got Peter Sterling playing fullback in defence, and he's got Taylor in the line. Taylor, of course, being a great defender, but what that gives him with Sterling at the fullback is the ability to return kicks when Graham Wynn puts them through for St George.
Penalty St George. Penalty St George against the Parramatta player for not getting off him. I didn't hear what you said then, Bill. I was trying to broadcast and listen to. You mean it leaves him with a full tank of oxygen for attack?
Well, what it does do is, see, Peter Taylor doesn't return kicks. He hasn't got a kicking game, but if Wynn does put the ball through, with Peter Sterling at fullback, Parramatta have the ability to return the kick straight away.
I've got you. Here's Beattie now, taking the kick for line. A nice kick by Michael Beattie too, finding it about 7 or 8 metres on the St George side of the halfway, and John Dowling takes it. Stone goes up and Jerd goes in with Mayers and Edge. And it's Stone to play it now. Plays it back to Dowling. Off it goes to Young. Young able to take it to the 45-metre line. Muggleton, Price and Edge making the tackles. It's gone across to Haddock and now away to Paul Morris. Now with Graham Wynn. A big break. Sterling's missed him. Taylor's got him. Good run by Graham Wynn. Played on the Parramatta 22. Now we'll see what the Eels are made of. Out to Young, on to Stone. Stone, he's held by Mayers and held by 3 others. Now they swarm in, and Stone is going to play the ball just out from the Parramatta 22. But that punctuation mark has given Parramatta time to reform. Here's Haddock, looking left, looking right, but cut down by Jerd. Marker is Ella. Johns throws the pass from dummy half, finds Morris, knocked down by Cronin. This will be 6 more for the Dragons. Pat Jarvis to play it. Dummy half, Morris. Morris out from dummy half, looking for a split, can't find it. Tackled about 25 metres out from the Eels line. Parramatta leading 8 points to 0. Haddock finds an opening, he's into it. Gets a one-hander, back to Dowling. Dowling's pulled down, desperate tackle by Sterling. And it's panic stations for Parramatta as St George put it on. O'Grady tackled about 3 or 4 metres out from the line, right in front of the uprights. It's played and gone to Haddock and across to Craig Young. He gets the pass away, it's on the ground, and it's with John Muggleton for Parramatta. So they weathered one storm, but by Jove, on occasions they looked as though they were sure to score, St George. Neil Hunt to play it, 10 metres out from his line. Eric Grace will go for a dummy half run. That's a gain of about 8 metres, and I continue to be amazed by the amount of ground you can make from dummy half so early in a game. Here's Cronin now.
St George did look dangerous then when they had the ball, and they look most dangerous when they spread the ball out wide. And I think if they are susceptible at all in defence, Parramatta, it's out wide, blind and open sides, and that's where Graham Wynn will be looking to run. Sterling kicking, Johnson fielding. Nice take by Johnson. Comes to Sterling, gets the pass to Haddock. Haddock gets it away to Beattie. Beattie's up to the 22 and crunch. Jerd takes him with Peter Wynn.
Played to Dowling, given to Young. I don't know whether Parramatta can turn them away this time. 15 metres out from the Eels line. St George piling it on. It's Dowling across to Haddock. Haddock onto O'Grady. O'Grady to Mike Beattie. Taken by Steve Ella. Parramatta's had their shot. Now it's St George's turn to fire theirs. This is Dowling. Dowling cut down by Jerd. He's 9 metres out from the Parramatta line. It's early days, but they're playing at a crackerjack pace. Stone, one-handed to Beattie. A swarm of Eels there. 5 gone for the Dragons. The test is coming of the bomb. It's Stone who decides to put it up from dummy half. Brett Kenny's underneath it. Sterling gives him cover. He juggled it, and it's gone over the dead ball line for the line dropout. Oh, gee, that was closer than a lot of people think. He had it and lost it. This was the bomb. Watch Brett Kenny. He gets cover from Peter Sterling. Paul Morris goes up with Kenny. Look at the ball. Kenny's got it between his knees.
I bet Tony Melrose wishes he'd have had the same cover yesterday.
Dropout has come down to Brian Johnson. Excitement supreme at the cricket ground. Parramatta leading 8-0. St George throwing everything, bow their boots at Parramatta. O'Grady gets a beautiful ball. He gets it away to Gearin. They're 5 metres out. St George on the second tackle. It's Dowling away to Haddock. Parramatta's in trouble. Haddock is in. That's a try. That's a try to Perry Haddock. Perry Haddock scores for the Dragons. And a great fight back by St George. From Dowling, it got across to Haddock. Peter Wynn went up very fast. And he got through Ray Price, and that's a very mean trick, let me tell you.
The try was always on the left-hand side. Peter Wynn came up too fast when he realised that St George had an overlap, and Haddock stepped him. He then stepped inside Price. Price went too low. That's why he missed that tackle. Sterling made the tackle, but it was all too late.
So this was the shot from down on the ground. And he got through Ray Price, and Peter Sterling couldn't hold him back, and Perry Haddock has gone in to score for St George to bring them back to 8-4, and a very simple attempt at conversion for this man, Steve Gearin.
Yes, we've seen him kick some great goals at the Sydney Cricket Ground. He's almost a Sydney Cricket Ground specialist, but I suppose in a game with this intensity, none of them are easy.
A lesser side could have well compounded, but you're not dealing with, and also ran when you're dealing with St George 84. Gearin, he's got it. So Gearin has brought the Saints back to within 2 points. They're trailing by 8-6. You're watching the NEC big game from the SCG. Cronin brings it back for the restart. We had 80 minutes of excitement yesterday. I think we're in for another dose today. How much can you take in the space of 48 hours?
Yeah, if yesterday was the entree, I don't know if I can handle the main course.
Well, I'm fully... I've had an eloquent sufficiency, thank you. Gearin tackled by Sterling. 15 metres out from the Saints line. Paul Morris passes and finds Pat Jarvis. Mears and Jerd make the tackle. 2 tackles for St George inside their 22. This is the third, and Young has tackled just beyond that point.
I think St George will be looking again basically at using a long kicking game, but I think they should also consider the short kicking game. Parramatta playing no cover defence apart from their fullback, and there's plenty of space to vary their kicks.
Eric Groth losing his footing. He'll play it 2 metres into St George territory, but next time the ball looks like going to Win, I'll try and pinpoint it for you, and you watch the keenness of the chase from the Parramatta, particularly second marker. You watch him go for Win. On that occasion, they dropped Win out to second pivot, too, to try and fool Parramatta. But you watch it next time. Here's a penalty to Parramatta. He's got St George for inside the 5, and he's given Cronin a great kick right in front, 30 metres out. So Cronin's going for his third shot. He missed the conversion attempt of the Hunt try. He missed the conversion attempt of his own try, but they were both from the touchline. This is his easiest. .30 metres out right in front. Parramatta leading by 2. 8-6. Cronin hits it. It looks good. He's got it. Parramatta now leading by 10-6. 20 minutes gone, first half. If you add the points for and against for these two clubs, you find that in Muggleton knocking on, gee, this is a valuable scrum for St George. They've now played 180 minutes of football, and Parramatta leads St George by 1 point on points for and against in the matches they played this year. O'Grady to Morris, Paul Morris, dumped to the ground by Kenny. O'Grady, Haddock, Jarvis out wide, Taylor right around the bootlaces. Young, ball's on the ground. Price will get it for Parramatta. He does. Good work by Ray Price and Paul Taylor. Across to Mayers. Mayers went to fend off O'Grady, but O'Grady wasn't there. Mayers to play it out on his 22. Muggleton goes for some dummy half running. There's plenty of it there to be gained. Taylor's the dummy half. Wide for Cronin. Cronin, oh gee, I don't know why they want to do things like that in front of their own uprights. 25 metres out. Absolutely no need for it. This is Chris Johns. He got a real bone cruncher too. Wind was low, price was high. Now it's to Haddock. Morris on the run round. Jerd came across the top very urgently. It's with Stone. Throws the dummy Stone. Round the legs was Muggleton. Jerd was over the top again. This is Dowling across the ground finding Pete. Oh, he's gone through. Oh, that's a tremendously well-executed try, but heavens above, Parramatta. They were showing up as being as brittle as a dry biscuit. It was simply a case of a dummy on the inside and picking up the second forward. Watch it. And he went straight through them. Kenny and Mayers, he went straight through them, and then he got through Sterling. It looks like a total lack of commitment in defence on the part of some players.
A good set play by St George, and if you're going to make breaks against Parramatta, that's where it is, just on the fringe of the ruck. Graham Wynn ran straight between Mayers and Kenny, and over he goes to score a tremendous planned try for St George.
Don't be fooled by the start of matches in the Sydney semi-finals. That message is coming through loud and clear. Parramatta crashed into the Sydney cricket ground and led 8-0 after 7 minutes. Now they look like being behind 12-10 for sure. They are. Guerin converts the Graham Wynn try. St George leading Parramatta by 12-10. So Cronin restarts for the Eels. Deep to Guerin's wing. He's coming out of the Paddington Hill corner. Tackle by Sterling, so Sterling's giving Parramatta some good chases. Here's Johns. Tackled by Jerd. Dowling, the sun peeping through. It's a lovely day in Sydney, really. It's just a light film of cloud overhead that has kept that sun away. This is Haddock, one of the two St George try scorers. Played by Haddock. Jarvis away to Stone. A cutout pass over to Guerin. Guerin on a run down the flank. And away from edge, he's found Johnson to the halfway. It's with Young. The Dragons really throwing it about. This is Morris. Morris, he may even score. He will. Morris has scored a magnificent Dragon try. almost the full length of the ground. What a great try. It started way back in the Paddington Hill corner. And Gearan was put down the touchline. Gross was standing back looking for the kick. He stopped, Muggleton and Edge kept going. And then Gearan turned it over to Johnson. Johnson came to the halfway and it went back to Craig Young. Young went 10 metres and then gave a long ball, and Steve Morris ran 45 metres. They chased, but in vain. And there's the head-on of Slippery Morris going in for St George's third try.
The length of the field try by St George, a little bit of good fortune when the ball was touched by Graham O'Grady. It then went on to Craig Young and he threw a beautifully weighted pass to Steve Morris. Morris, with all the time in the world, set his ears back, looked at the try line, saw no one in front of him. The cover defence was coming across. They just didn't have the pace to go with him, and that is a tremendous try for St George.
Well, I've seen some good games of rugby league. This is turning out to be one of them. I've also seen some crazy games, but that scoreboard, it's quite incredible. 1 minute leading 8-0 and next minute trailing 16-10, and it's all happened in 27 minutes of football. Gearan from the touchline. A chance to make it 18-10. And I'm not prepared to say he can't kick it. What breeze there is behind him. Hits it, but he's hooked it very wide. And so St George lead Parramatta at this point by 16 points to 10. Crannon's kick going down to Paul Morris. And he's reached the quarterway line. Jarvis. Stone. Winner's ready. He's calling my ball. He's not going to get it this time, though. Haddock. Tackled by Sterling. Ball loose, picked up by Johnson. He's lost it. Mayers has got it for Parramatta. So Mayers will play it just outside the St George quarter. Played back to Edge, away to Jerd. Now with Muggleton. Win. Price. They're to the 22 and working on something. 4 tackles gone. Sterling wide for Kenny, holding it up, giving it to Mayers, but he's run into the St George defence of Beattie and O'Grady. Now it's Taylor. Sterling. Up goes the bomb. Edge is offside. Roberts has told him that. Oh, bad bounce. There's a chance for Ella. Ella has scored. Ella has scored between the uprights. Oh, what a shocking bounce for Johnson. It not only had the uprights helping it, it bounced up and hit the crossbar and bounced down again. You can say that he should have taken it on the full, but he was trying to work out where the hell the damn thing was. And down there, wind is going everywhere, let me tell you. There's no risk that Ella was onside, too, let me tell you that. He was behind the kicker. But watch it. Johnson says, oh, there it is. And see that? It hit the crossbar and bounced back down again. So Parramatta coming up with a try off a bomb. And there it is on the head-on.
All things being equal, the goalposts is the place to place your bombs, and Peter Sterling did that. It was a very unlucky bounce for Johnson. It bounced up, hit the crossbar. Ella was there, Johnny on the spot, and he did the rest.
So Cronin gets a kick from right in front. Cronin converts, and the scoreline is 16 points all. 16 all, 32 points scored in 30 minutes of football. Well, if they keep scoring at this rate, we mightn't have enough numerals loaded into the system. Paul Morris kicks off. Paul Taylor will use Growth. He does. Growth outside the 22 line. Price. Paul Morris went in for a tackle on Price. He missed him badly, and then I was watching Morris through the glasses. He got a boot right in the face. The player actually trod on his face, Paul Morris. Accidental, but it wouldn't have helped much after he had also made a mess of trying to take Ray Price head on. The kick by Sterling going down to the St George line. Johnson has the ball in his hands. He slipped over. Taylor's got him with Sterling. A lot of people are probably saying to themselves, gee, these players fall over a lot, but the Sydney cricket ground, it's so hard. It's not that the topsoil is loose, it's just you can't get the sprigs to go into it. It's like a greasy ground, if I can explain it that way. And it's out with Craig Young now. He puts a kick through. Growth's got it. That's dangerous. Here he comes, the big man, winding up those big legs. Oh, look at him go! Growth! He went over the top of Pat Jarvis, and Pat is still getting up. Sterling, long ball to Kenny. Cronin's backing him up on the inside. He's been flung to the ground by Chris Johns. This match has got everything. It's a thriller minute stuff here. Neil Hunt now, taken by Craig Young and belted to the ground. Play is about 27 metres out from the St George line. Across to Sterling, back to Peter Wynn. Wynn is tackled there by Pat Jarvis. Parramatta probably setting themselves up for another bomb. They've had 4 tackles go by. Price spins it right to Taylor, to Cronin, and now to Growth. And Growth comes to Beattie. He's beaten Beattie. He's with Gearin, and Gearin has got him. But Growth is starting to turn it on. He realises that this Parramatta side's in big trouble against the Saints. The kick up in the air by Sterling's been felled in the back play. I'm not sure what he's going to rule here. The ball's gone all over the place, and he said play on. But there was a clash between Jarvis and Sterling, and I can't comment on it because I wasn't able to see it. Trying to follow the ball, and by Jove, was it doing some dipsy-doodling all over the place. Win to play it for the Saints. 3 metres out from their line. Young to Stone, and it's inside the 5 against Parramatta. A relieving penalty for the Saints. 16 points all. 6 3/4 minutes of the first half to go. Beattie's line kick finds it down on the 22 line. That 22 line is, well, that side of the ground right in front of the members. This is Stone, tackled by Jerd and Edge. Dowling finds Jarvis. Head-on tackle, Muggleton throws a pass, and it's with Haddock. Haddock will play it. Plays it back to Craig Young. Off it goes to Graham O'Grady. Now watch for your markers here. Wynn's falling in behind. Maybe not this time. Well, there he is now, Wynn. He came in close and got a quick ball, but he's put it out on the full. And actually, those markers with that charge down tactic have forced Graham to kick quickly, and he's put it out on the full. Now, this is a dangerous scrum for St George because it's 10 metres out from the 22. Parramatta's loose head and feed. Sterling puts it in, and it's won by Parramatta. Straight through the tunnel. Kenny goes to the blind side, but Haddock is there with Johnson, the fullback, and Graham Wynn breaking quickly from his scrum. Played by Kenny, and coming to the open side is Eric Growth, and Growth is hit there by Graham Wynn and by Perry Haddock. Taylor dummy half, off to the lookalike Sterling, on to Cronin. Cronin goes up and he's held there. They're right over the top of him, Cronin. He'll play it 32 metres out. 3 tackles gone for the blue and golds. Mears goes ahead, comes to Stone. He's tackled just outside the 22 line. 4 tackles gone for Parramatta.
Eric Growth spending a lot of time off his wing and at the outside centre position.
There goes Growth, running onto a short ball. A fortuitous bounce of the ball back to Muggleton, but the referee has ruled that it went forward.
Yeah, Ray, I didn't have a lot of time to expand on that, but Growth's been leaving his wing, coming to the outside centre position, and then other players are filling in for him on the wing. The first occasion it was Steve Ella, then it was Ray Price.
So this scrum feed is with St George, and Haddock it is who takes it on the 22 line. His end of the ground in front of the hill stand, and a penalty to Parramatta. Now he's got the hooker for getting down. A differential to the Eels, and there's 4.5 minutes of the first half to go. The scoreline is 16-16. 3 tries apiece. Sterling takes the kick, and he finds it 12 metres out from the St George line. Parramatta will use the double pivot run around. Edge, back to Sterling, now to Muggleton. Muggleton is within about 5 metres of the line. He's lost it. Muggleton's lost it. So a scrum to go down. It's a bad loss of the ball for Parramatta. A good one for St George. They get the loose and the feed. Fed by Haddock. Won by the Dragons, but he wants it again. Gee, they're going in heavy. Won by St George. Haddock to the open side. Met by Price and tackled. Paul Morris goes to the blind. Again met by Price and pulled down. Price using the legs in the tackle. He's able to do that. There's no worries about using your legs in the tackle, but you must use your arms first. And now it's a cross for Haddock, and now it's out to Brian Johnson. Sterling went up for the charge down. Johnson got inside him. Taylor makes the tackle. It was a Derek Randall mid-wicket catch, and he's taken play back into St George's area. He'll play the ball now to Ray Price. And it's come away for Eric Growth, who's standing at 5'8" and looking for work today. It's a hungry Growth. I've never seen him looking for work like this before. He plays it back to Edge, across to Sterling, now to Kenny, on to Cronin, back for Kenny, now it's to Ella. Ella inside for Cronin. Cronin across for Taylor. Taylor looks for Ella, doesn't pass, takes it to ground. But both these sides are really on fire. They're playing good football. Give or take a couple of pretty shoddy moments in defence for both of them. Ball played by Peter Wynn. 35 metres out from the St George line, and Edge goes towards the centre of the ground. 2.5 minutes of time remaining. Peter Wynn is the dummy half. 3 tackles are gone for Parramatta. He says, I'll pinch 10 and set this up for the 4th. Now the play is probably on. Sterling is calling it to the open side. He's to the right of Muggleton. Muggleton passes to Sterling, to Price, run around and back to Sterling. Flick pass, Mears, up to the 22, on the ground, gets rid of the ball. It's gone to Jerd. Jerd is away from one. He's back inside 32, picks up Cronin. Cronin gets rid of Morris, turns it inside, finds Ella. Ella's looking for an opening. It's not there. 5 gone for Parramatta. 22 metres out. It's come to Sterling for the bomb. There goes the kick. There shouldn't be any pressure there for Johnson. He's inside his own goal line. Price might nail him. If he doesn't, Edge might. No, he's beaten them both. Now he comes to Muggleton. Muggleton puts him down. 8 metres out from St George's line. Guerin tackled the dummy half. Second tackle. Mears was the tackler. Played back to Dowling. He goes the blind. Muggleton the tackler. And St George now have used 3 tackles. Guerin looks for Haddock. He finds him and gives it to O'Grady. And then it's gone to Chris Johns. But around the legs is Taylor. And they're on the 4th tackle. Brian Johnson's behind the play the ball. Graham Wynn comes in and calls for the ball. It's with Robert Stone. It's back to Perry Haddock. It's gone to Craig Young, and he's met by Stan Jerd. They're on tackle number 5. They're still inside the 22. There's just over a minute of time remaining in the first stanza. There's the charge down again, and it's been knocked on by St George. And if Parramatta could get on it, it'll be play on, but it's not. It'll be a scrum. 25 metres almost out from the St George line.
Parramatta would be congratulated on the way they've completely nullified St George's kicking game. St George went into the game with that in mind, and John Mooney's alerted his players, and they've done a great job in countering it.
So it's a St George, or should I say it's a Parramatta feed. And they've got just on 30 seconds. That's if they come up with it.
Well, if they do, let's look for a kick on the first or second tackle, and there it is from the scrum.
Sterling, but Beattie and Guerin were awake for it. And Guerin is tackled by Steve Ella. Played back to O'Grady, given off to Chris Johns, and tackled by Price and Cronin. Played just inside the 22 line. Siren for the half-time, 10 seconds away as the referee calls timeout. Chris Johns took a knock apparently on the head. In fact, I saw Michael Cronin pat him on the back as if to say, "You all right?" Roy Masters there. In fact, the fellow behind Masters probably tells the story better than what the face on Roy Masters did. He was biting the fingernails. Well, let's see where Johns took this hit. There, he got driven headfirst into the ground. And he's okay, the youngster. He'll barely have time to play it. There's only just a matter of 5 seconds to go. Craig Young finds Graham Wynn. Wynn gallops down the touchline. He's a free-running second rower. There's the siren. Kevin Roberts acknowledges the siren. That's the end of the first half. Well, the crowd are standing and applauding these two sides as they leave the ground. First it was Parramatta. They shocked St George with 2 quick tries. The Dragons came back and equalised and went to the front. Parramatta came back and equalised again. And so at half-time, it's 16-all between the Dragons and the Eels. We'll take a break and be back in just a minute. St George from right to left in the second half, running towards the Paddington end. This crowd has built up late in the day, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's around 25,000. Pretty hard to tell these days with those green expanses now missing that we used to mainly use as our barometer. Hunter's tackle just inside the 22 line. This is Edge getting away from dummy half. I wouldn't be surprised to see them use a lot more dummy half runs, Parramatta. Sterling kicking now, looking to turn the St George forwards around, succeeding in doing that. And Sterling's come through, so he's put them all on side. And it's Kenny now who makes the tackle on Brian Johnson. He almost went into touch. Beattie. And Price gets him around the bootlaces. Growth over the top. Dowling across now for Jarvis. They've reached the halfway St George with 3 tackles. And here's Stone, taken by Muggleton and Jerd together with Taylor.
Pat Jarvis is sick in the back play. When he took that ball up, he almost sat down and appeared there was something wrong with him. I think he's coming from the field.
Jarvis not at all well, but he looks all right. But he's already indicated to the bench that he needs either some pretty quick treatment or a replacement. The kick is going to find touch, and it's come off Eric Gray's hand. So it's going to be a St George feed.
Very
St
difficult.
George loose, and here's Chris Walsh coming out for St George, and this is where I believe the Dragons and the Bulldogs have got the aces, these replacements that they have at their disposal. Look at this fellow, a state player, Chris Walsh, and behind him still to come are Rogers, O'Connor and Brian Johnston. Here's Haddock getting to the open side as they win a scrum. Wynn and Sterling making the tackle. Played back now for Graham Wynn to give to Pat Jarvis. I wonder what's wrong with him.
Look, all I can think, Ray, is that as he took that ball up, he might have had a tear in the hamstring. He felt it go, sat down in the tackle so as not to do any further injury. If you've done a hamstring, you know it's gone.
Yeah, so St George with the ball. About 20 metres inside or outside the Parramatta line. It's gone out to Young. On to Johnson. Flick pass to Johns. Johns tackled by Wynn, held by Ella. They're 10 metres out. 4th tackle for St George. Morris a dummy half. Taylor was a wake-up. He got there very quickly to snuff him out. From Dowling, it's gone to Haddock. And now they're going to put Parramatta under the test. Kenny is back there. And the ball is loose on the ground. St George have got the ball, but referee Roberts, he's ruling a 22 place kick. Here's the bomb. They all went up there. Kenny was getting plenty of cover. And the obviously didn't rule that Brett Kenny forced the ball.
Well,
otherwise, it would have been a line drop.
He's ruled that it was a mistake by the attacking team. That's St George in the opposition in goal.
Kenny has split them open. Here's Ella. Ella will score. Oh, they've gone 75 metres, and Ella scores under the uprights. Well, it happened in the twinkling of an eye. And as you've said so often, Bill, they've got players in that side who can turn a match inside a couple of seconds. Here we were looking at a replay, and suddenly they had taken the tap. They'd gone upfield and taken one play the ball, and then it was spread quickly, and Cronin stood in Haddock's tackle, and Kenny, he exploded through that gap. It doesn't look fast on slow-mo replay, but I'll tell you, he went through that opening and he changed gears, and Ella was there. Look at Neil Hunter, winger, trying to keep up with Ella. 75-metre try almost.
Mark this one down to Mick Cronin. We can see the ball goes from Sterling to Cronin, but it was a well-executed play. He timed his pass beautifully to Brett Kenny. Kenny just hit the hole. He stepped off the right foot and beat O'Grady pointless. Then became a one-on-one situation with the fullback. Johnson was probably a little bit too deep. Kenny had plenty of time to position Ella. Ella took the ball, and over he goes for a tremendous try in the opening minutes of this second half.
So Cronin has converted, and Parramatta lead by 22 points to 16. Yes, he must have ruled, getting back to that bomb that St George put up, and how incredible has this match been.
And how important was that ruling for Parramatta?
Yeah, well, he obviously ruled a mistake in goal against St George, and from that we saw the entire field covered by Parramatta from a 22-place kick.
Yeah, they're a team that can do that, Parramatta. They're masters of counter-attack, and with players such as Cronin, Kenny, Ella and Growth that have got great combination out wide. They've been playing together for so long, you just can't afford to relax on them at any stage of a game.
So it's a penalty to Parramatta. He's ruled, I believe, double marker against St George, and Sterling takes the line finder. Not a bad kick. He's found it just into St George's territory. So very early in the second half, Parramatta, as they did in the first half, have claimed a try. Edge, Sterling, Muggleton, and St George are very, very much aware of Parramatta's set plays, it would appear. They're almost standing there waiting for them to come through the hole. Here's Edge, tackled by Walsh in jumper number 20, Walsh. Good player, fancy bringing him on as a reserve. Now Kenny has to juggle the ball before he actually takes the tackle of Haddock, and here's Wynn thumping it up 15 metres into St George's territory. Eric Grath's a dummy half. He passes and finds Sterling. A long ball out to Jerd, very wide Jerd, and tackled midway 22 halfway, St George's end of the field. And this is the last tackle for the Eels, and Sterling puts in a grubber kick, and that was taken by Haddock just outside the quarter-way line. And away from dummy half goes Guerin, but he's got Parramatta for the same offence as the penalty earlier, and that's for double marker. 22 points to 16. And we've seen 7 tries scored in this match. And would you believe the last time they clashed, there wasn't a try scored. 3-2, in fact, the scoreline at Belmore. From Haddock through to Paul Morris. On to Beattie and now to Stone out wide. He gave Kenny a fend in the face and got rid of him very quickly. And this is Johns. And Johns is upended and driven into the ground by Cronin. Across now for Paul Morris to speed it onto O'Grady and sweep it to Graham Wynn. Holds the ball back, and Mears and his brother Peter are there to pull him down. St George just on their side of the halfway. Played back, and Johnson passes to O'Grady, who goes over the halfway, but he ran into a Bobby Dazzler with a tackle from Ray Price. That was a Price head-on special. Haddock, short ball for Walsh. Around the legs was Muggleton. Up the top was Edge, was Jerd. Played and gone from Dowling across to Perry Haddock. He kicks. Growth takes it. Fielding it around about silly mid-on. And then he's almost gone through them. And Growth will play it just on his side of the halfway. Out from dummy half, Taylor. Up goes Mears to the halfway line, the big fellow. And he's held there by the St George prop, Craig Young. Roberts tells them to get off him. Sterling finds Kenny out wide. Kenny finds Cronin. They've got the numbers, Parramatta. And Ella has put it down in a flick pass. And Kenny comes up with it. And it's going to be a scrum just on the Parramatta side of halfway. But they have the uncanny ability of finding an extra man out there, Bill, when Kenny, Cronin and Ella get their heads together and start thinking.
Yeah, that's happening because the St George outside backs just aren't numbering off well. They're not looking each play the ball and checking where their man is in attack. And what you've got to do is have a look each play the ball and ensure that you're outside him. Basically, it's mathematical. If they've got 6 there, you need 6. If they've got 4, you need 4.
That man tackled just into Parramatta territory as Steve Morris. Perry Haddock passes, finds Craig Young. Edge around the legs, but Young able to stand in the tackle. Back to Haddock onto Stone, looking to switch it back. He beats Muggleton, pulled down by Jerd. And they're about 8 metres into Parramatta's area. Parramatta leading by 6 points in this preliminary semi-final. A short ball from Haddock finding Chris Walsh, but Taylor is there, axing them down close to the ruck, and when he's not there, there seems to be trouble. It's gone from Haddock, found Johnson, the fullback, a little kick, Price is there, takes it, and then starts to try and go upfield. Johnson's got him, he's actually towing Johnson. And now it's Ray Price to play it. Plays it back to Paul Mears. Blood streaming from his nose. Down he goes, up he gets. Plays it 5 metres his side of the halfway. Dummy half is Edge. Jerd's calling for it. He wants a run, but Edge is going to pinch a couple of metres from dummy half. And that's 3 gone for Parramatta. They're almost in the centre of the ground now. Taylor's the dummy half. I thought he may have knocked on there. Sterling turns it back inside to Muggleton, but Muggleton took it up fairly softly, I thought, and he's lost it. He's claiming that it was taken from him. And so the scrum will go down just on the St George side of the halfway. 4-3 penalties Parramatta, 5-4 scrum St George. St George winning this scrum, but it's a penalty to Parramatta. It's an incorrect feed. So Sterling taking the line finder, and I don't think he's going to find it. Yes, he did. He found it, but I think it's been touched. It has. Touched by Brian Johnson. So they come back with a scrum instead of a tap, and that's a mistake by Peter Sterling.
We can even see from this scrum that the St George centre, Chris Johns, is lining up inside of Steve Ella. Ella would be 15 metres outside of him, and he just can't allow that to happen, Johns. If you give Ella any room to move on the outside, he's just going to skip around you.
Well, there's the wide shot. Sterling defeated, important scrum. Straight through the tunnel. The crowd appeals for a second row feed. Sterling plays it. Price dummy half. Out to Taylor, on to Gross. Gross running at Morris to fight. Oh, look at the strength of this man. Oh, what a pass. What a pass. And it's gone out to Neil Hunt. Hunt's trying to beat them. He throws the dummy, but that will go down as one of the best passes I've ever seen thrown from Eric Gross. Gee, it was a good pass. And from dummy half goes Brett Kenny. And Kenny's a couple of metres out from the line. The dummy half is Neil Hunt now. Paul Taylor is the standoff. It's gone to Sterling, back to Taylor. Taylor's lost his footing. There's plenty of them doing that out there. And it's Cronin who's gone into dummy half. Cronin, short ball for Wynn. He absolutely slams it up, gets a pass away. It's on the ground, it's a knock on, but I think he'll play the advantage. Young has got it for St George. St George now trailing by 6, and Graham Wynn is tackled by Taylor and Ed.
And the opening 12 minutes of this second half have been all Parramatta. It's been a very testing time for St George. All of the plays been right in front of us here, which is the St George end of the ground. And if St George are going to get into the game, they're going to have to get their game plan in order, kick the ball downfield, and then wait for a Parramatta mistake.
Stone taken by Muggleton, Jerd and Ray Price. Just looking for one of their kickers. Falling in behind the ruck. Here's Johnson. There goes the charge down. Taylor's got him.
Oh, great defence by Parramatta.
5 tackles gone. They've got another chance. They went for the kick on the 4th. They've got one more chance. They find little Perry Haddock. It's a charge down. Stan Jerd might score. No, Gearon's cleaned it up. Gearon's cleaned it up. Well, St George have tried everything to get back into their game plan. But these fellows, Parramatta, they're just so pumped up from marker. They're just so pumped up. They knew what the coach had told them, and they have been told, carry it out or else, and gee, are they doing that?
Ray, you can talk about all the patterns of defence and the theories of football you like, but nothing counts for enthusiasm and discipline, and that's what Parramatta is showing at the moment. You can't coach a team to do that. That's just enthusiasm to get the second marker, to back up, to make tackles and so on.
Growth is tackled 25 metres out from the St George line. Sterling, Price. Oh, Price and Sterling a misunderstanding, and the ball has gone to ground. Price gets up, shaking the bottom bottom lip there. He copped one as he went down. Played back to Darling. Dummies outside, turns it back to the blind. Graham Wynn on a good run. Taking play to within 5 metres of the halfway. 6 points the difference.
And it's fairly noticeable that St George are directing almost all of their attack wide down the blind side against Parramatta.
Dowling, he really felt the wrath of the Parramatta defence then. He ran into a bone jarrer. Out to Haddock, now they want the sweep. It's Young, stands. Chris Walsh finds a gap up the middle, turns it back for Haddock. He'll be hard to stop, the little fellow. Mears, oh, great tackle by Taylor. Tremendous tackle by Taylor. Now St George, they go for it. It's up in the air from Morris, but Kenny's underneath it. No pressure there, and he'll take the tackle and submit. No, he's not going to submit. He's going to fight them. And he's tackled 8 metres out from the Parramatta line. Watch out for the Eels. They're likely to push this ball quickly. It's gone to Sterling, now to Cronin. But St George had time to mark up because Kenny was sick after trying to take that bomb and then play it. The time he used in getting up nullified any chance of a quick stretch. Sterling, Hunt. Hunt now trying to step through, and Stone has got him 10 metres out from the Parramatta line. But the confidence of the Parramatta team is starting to come through. They're throwing the ball about in front of their own uprights, and here's Price tackled now. About 15 metres out from the Parramatta line. Parramatta leading by 6 points as Sterling puts in a kick. Torpedo punt. It is well in field. Johnson is there for it. Sterling's coming down the ground to put them onside. Johnson has run though. He's run the 5 metres, and it's Ella giving the ring of defence around him with Mears, and Johnson, the fullback, will play it. Midway 22, halfway, St George has entered the field, and these big St George forwards taking more and more time to turn around and come back. Sterling making the tackle on Beattie.
The coaches of the respective teams in this game have got some fairly good personnel sitting on the bench. Parramatta have got players such as David Lydiard, Chris Houghton and so on, and of course St George, well, it goes without saying, Steve Rogers, etc. And I think the replacement of players in the final 25 minutes is going to have a large bearing on the outcome of the match.
Well, that's exactly how many minutes there are to go, 25. And here's Stone going up, met by Peter Wynn and by Stephen Edge. Burrowing in for another tackle there was Ray Price. 19, Chris Phelan has come to the sidelines for Parramatta. It's gone across the ground. Morris is there, stands in the tackle from Taylor. Gets the ball away, it's gone from O'Grady. It's out with the centre, Chris Johns, but he ran into the shoulder of Ray Price. And he'll play the ball on tackle number 5. The wingers are falling back. Hunter's gone back. It's with Paul Morris. He shoots for that sideline, and it's a good kick by Paul Morris. Good kick by Paul Morris, finding it about 12 metres out from the Parramatta line. Kenny was standing back at fullback. I'm not sure that he was meant to be there. Jerd is coming off. Phelan has gone on. Jerd off. Phelan on. Just wondering how that shoulder is of Brett Kenny's. I thought I saw him grab at it. Not good, Pete? Peter Villingos reckons he's not well. It's out with Taylor now. Taylor's tackled about. He's lost it, Taylor. And I think Ray Price has cleaned it up, but he's given a penalty to St George, and Roberts is saying, I called held. Wynn is warning Sterling. He's saying, you watch it. Have a look at them standing next to one another. Be a nice contest. So he reckons, Roberts, that he'd called held. He pointed to the mouth. And looking at this face of Paul Mears, he's got a stream of blood. Wow, that's another bad mistake by Parramatta. Again failing to find touch cleanly, and it's going to be a scrum to restart it. The only thing about it, of course, is they have the loose and the feed. And here's Roy Masters sending his first fresh man into the game, or second fresh man, I should say. Brian Johnston is to go on. Fed by Sterling, and there's an arm in the scrum, but it's been won by Parramatta. Sterling is tackled on the blind by Walsh. Dummy half Price goes for a settle up the blind, and Walsh makes the tackle. 6 points the difference. Parramatta leading by 22-16. Played back to Phelan. Phelan takes it about 5 or 6 metres in a forward direction. Tacklers were Craig Young and Graham Wynn. John Dowling getting in for a tackle. Off goes Chris Johns for St George. Here's Muggleton holding the ball back for Mears. Mears is tackled 10 metres into St George's area. Dummy half is Steve Edge, looking for instructions from his playmaker, Peter Sterling. That's him with the ball. Now it's with Cronin. Cronin, short ball, away to Price. Price held by Robert Stone and by Graham Wynn. And Price shrugs out of the tackle. It's come away on the 5th, and it's with Sterling. Sterling puts up the bomb in midfield. The Eels go through. Sterling puts them all onside. Raked back and taken by Peter Wynn. Wynn gets a pass away to Hunt. Hunt puts in a kick. My goodness, it looks like a game of Australian rules. Up they go, the big men. Down comes Michael Beattie with the ball. It's red blind. You're watching a game of Aussie rules, actually. That little passage of play. Robert Stone tackled now. Just outside the St George 22 line. Stone gets up, looks at the referee, plays the ball, goes across to Haddock, on to Young. Now it's gone out to Paul Morris. Morris looks to give the ball to Brian Johnston, but Parramatta have succeeded in particularly the second half of shutting the St George attack down. They're not letting it get past the 5/8 because Kenny in particular has been coming up very fast and turning them back inside. It's with Craig Young, shapes to kick, doesn't, gets a pass away, finds Brian Johnson, beautifully tackled by Muggleton. 5 gone for St George now.
The other area that St George have fallen down in the second half is simply they're not playing the ball as quickly as they were in the first half.
So the ball has been deflected forward. St George on a long run downfield. It's down with Steve Morris, and Morris is tackled about 12 metres into Parramatta's territory. It's the turnover of possession though. Turnover, and Parramatta comes back with it. They'll stretch it. It's gone out to Paul Taylor. Taylor comes to Dowling. He beats him and gets the pass to Cronin. Cronin spins off a tackle, finds Kenny. Kenny, they're all over the top of him.
Both sides are getting particularly tired, and something's got to crack here in a moment, one way or the other.
Taylor looks at Sterling, ducks under a tackle. He's about 12 metres short of the halfway line as he plays it back to Stephen Edge. It's gone to Peter Sterling, on to Ray Price. Price runs at Haddock, and Haddock takes him in a good front-on tackle. Certainly a good tackle from a little man. Price is in agony. Price is in agony out there. This was the tackle from Haddock. Price. A very sick and sorry boy at the moment. $25,500 at the cricket ground. Steve Rogers talking with Roy Masters. Looking at them, you're entitled to think who's giving who instructions out there. And being Masters and being as shrewd as he is, why wouldn't you ask Steve Rogers for advice? What do you reckon? He's probably said. And then saying, well, these are your final instructions, now get down there. We'll blow the whistle on you in just a moment. Let's have a look at Ray Price now. Very concerned Captain Stephen Edge. Graham Richards, the trainer. The old warhorse, he'll probably play the ball. He will. He will. Third tackle it was. Time back on. Played by Price. It's gone to Taylor. Now to Muggleton. Muggleton puts in a kick. That'll nearly find touch. It's going to roll quickly towards the sideline. Guerin's across. Oh, it's just beaten Guerin. Beat him by the skin of his teeth. And Kenny was coming very fast. And Guerin, the only good part about it is for St George, Steve Guerin didn't touch it. What he didn't know was that Kenny was coming out of nowhere very quickly.
I was about to say, I can remember a few years ago, I'm sure it was Steve Guerin in a situation like that, knocked the ball back into the opposition, picked it up and scored. And if he'd have had a look over his shoulder, he wouldn't have even considered going near that one.
Scrum won by the Dragons. Haddock goes to the open side. And so the Eels will now try to peg the Dragons down inside their own 22. It's back with Paul Morris. He falls over, so there's 2 tackles gone, the second of them wasted, but Paul did well to take the ball even. 19.5 minutes of time gone, or 2 go, I should say, in the second half.
St George just aren't playing the ball quick enough. We can see here that's a fairly slow play the ball, and it's giving the Parramatta defence time to get set. If St George want to get momentum, they've got to hit the ball up with hard hit-ups in the forwards and play the ball very quickly. 4 tackles are gone for St George. They'll be looking to kick. Here it is, and there goes Muggleton. He misfired with the charge down, and that's the best kick that St George have got in all day. Now it's back with Sterling. Beattie is OK to play on. 17 has
Brian Johnson, and he makes the tackle down on the St George 22. I can see Steve Rogers coming out to the sideline. He's looking back up into the member stand. I don't know whether he forgot to get his final instructions, but he had plenty of time with Roy the Boy. Played by Hunt. Phelan goes for a run. He finds an opening up the middle, gains about 10 or 12 metres up the centre. Played by Phelan, played back to Edge. Edge away to Sterling. Sterling calls for Mears. The big man goes up. Up the middle he goes. Pops a ball down for Captain Courageous. It's out to Steve Edge and he's reached the halfway line. Well, that's 4 tackles gone for the Eels now.
I'd shock you if I was putting Steve Rogers on. I'd put him into lock forward at the moment. I just think he could control play well for me in that position in the final 20 minutes.
Oh, good pass from Cronin. Good pass from Wynn. Scooped up by Edge. He's not tackled. Will he pass? He's decided to take it to bed with him. And that's 5 tackles gone for the Eels. So Sterling drops in for the kick at touch. Here he is. Phelan hesitates with his pass. Sterling gets his kick in. He'll find it just outside the 22 line. St George's into the ground. Steve Rogers has gone on. And Graham Wynn is coming off.
And Rogers has gone into the lock forward position.
Well forecast, Bill Anderson.
Actually, he's got a second row. O'Grady's gone to lock. I don't think Steve would be used to playing in the second row slot, but I'm no doubt he'll fulfil a lock's role.
There's the scrum won by the Dragons. Haddock open side. Paul Morris, who's run into a Ray Price tackle. Dummy half is Paul Morris. Haddock is screaming at his forwards. Get out of the scrum more quickly and get around there. Keep following the ball for us. Played by Rogers. Coming to the back towards where the ball was played before. It's Brian Johnson who plays it now. Tackler was Muggleton. Dowling hits it up for Stone. Stone is tackled low and high. Win and Edge the tacklers. St George have used up 4. Dowling gets the pass away to Little Haddock. Then it goes to Chris Walsh. And Phelan makes the tackle with Taylor. And there's the 5th tackle gone. So here comes the kick from St George. Back to Steve Rogers. He passes. Finds Beattie. Finds Johnson. Johnson's taken by Kenny and Ella. That's the turnover. And Parramatta will come up with the ball and probably stretch it just as quickly. No, Neil Hunt's gone for a gallop and he's reached the halfway line. And St George is starting to, I believe, look a little bit brittle, very close to the play the ball area. It's come now with Chris Phelan. And every time they run from dummy half or first pivot, they're making 5 and 6 metres. It's played by Phelan. It's gone away from Edge and gone to Sterling. Now it's out to a man coming off a second pivot. It's Peter Wynn who's pulled the ground. 10 metres into St George's area. 22 points to 16. 16 minutes of time remaining. It's Parramatta in front. Mears goes for a gallop. He's finding that free space I was talking about. Mears will play the ball now. 32 metres out from the St George line. Out it goes to Peter Sterling. Calls Brett Kenny around. He's lost the ball in the tackle. It's cleaned up by Robert Stone for St George. And again I see Kenny just clutching at that shoulder. Here's St George now, spreading it quickly out to the right. Brian Johnson is tackled by Ray Price and Steve Ella, and play is just outside the 22-metre line. St George's into the ground. Away comes Perry Haddock. Out it comes now to Paul Morris, and I'm wondering when the other fellow is going to get in there and get in behind to play the ball. It's come away now to Steve Rogers, on to Craig Young, and Young is tackled by Mears right around the bootlaces. Here he comes now, Slippery. He's come in behind to play the ball. Here's Haddock working with Rogers. Rogers away to Brian Johnson, and he's pulled down, still inside the 32-metre line. Good defence from the Eels. 5 tackles gone. There's the kick from Johnson, and it's gone down to Peter Sterling, back on his own 22 line.
But St George just aren't doing what we've seen them do so well all year. Their forwards haven't taken the initiative and got back deep and hit the ball up. There's been a lot of passing in the St George camp every time they get the ball, but they're not going anywhere. Their front rowers have got to get deep, hit the ball up, play the ball quickly, and then drive the ball downfield. There's no pressure on Parramatta at the moment because they're not going backwards.
I think the bad news for Parramatta is about to unfold. Ron Quinn is on the sideline, and I think that shoulder of Kenny's has finally got the better of him. I think that's what's going to happen. Here's a kick over the top by Muggleton. Ella goes in for the ball, and he's almost come up with it, but it's a knock on. It'll be a scrum just on the Parramatta side of halfway. It'll be a St George loose, St George feed. Ron Quinn going on. Let's see who's going to replace now. He's pointing at Kenny. Yep, Kenny's off. Quinn on. 22-16 in favour of the Eels. 14 minutes of time to go. St George, they need to score, convert and score again. in some shape or form. Little Perry Haddock, he's worked and probed all day for the opening, but his biggest problem has been such keen defence by the forwards breaking quickly and the Parramatta inside backs. They haven't really given Perry a chance to get that ball out wide. And have they got pace out there? It's gone across to Craig Young now. Young looks around to offer, but there's no runners, and Young wasn't all that happy. He was tackled by Edge. It's played and gone now to Perry Haddock. He juggles it, finds Steve Rogers, and Rogers comes back into the centre. He finds Steve Morris, who turns it inside for Michael Beattie, but everywhere there's a St George player with the ball, there's 2 and 3 blue and gold jumpers there hunting. It's now Chris Phelan who misses Steve Morris. He tries to get a ball to Michael Beattie. 5 tackles gone now for the Dragons. They're desperate for points. It's come from Haddock, gone to Rogers. Rogers to the 22, looks inside, finds O'Grady. He does likewise, but Haddock has put the ball down. It's back with St George. Referee, there's a chance for the Dragons. If they don't do something, it's a turnover. Oh, they've kicked. I thought they should have run. Paul Taylor's taken it for Parramatta. Ray Price has been felled into the bargain.
Ray, you saw as it was. St George had a great opportunity on the right-hand side of the field to run the ball, but Brian Johnson, I don't think he realised there was a player outside him, and sent a kick, and that's given Parramatta back possession.
What about this man, Growth? Every time he's touched the ball today, he's left a stream of would-be tacklers behind him, and he's down injured now, Growth. He's clutching in his calf muscle on his right leg. It's with Peter Wynn now. Peter Wynn just looks at him and says, come on, who wants me? And Steve Rogers is there with Chris Walsh. And St George now have used all their trump cards off the bench, you might say, with the exception of a Mike O'Connor. It's now with Paul Mears. Paul Mears, he gets the pass away. Peter Sterling, he's ferreting for an opening. Tackle midway, 22 halfway. Parramatta's into the ground. 12 minutes of time remaining. Parramatta leading by 6 points in the major preliminary semi-final. Down it goes for Brian Johnson. Ron Quinn has gone on as a fresh man for Parramatta. Oh, but Johnson has busted them wide open. He's gone over the top of Ray Price. Great run by Brian Johnson. Superb run by the fullback from St George. Will that spur the Dragons on? O'Grady, Rogers, sweeping the ball away to Stone. Gives it on the outside, finds Gearan, but Gearan runs into traffic. He's tackled by Paul Taylor. Across it comes for Rogers. They're 35 metres out from the line. Across now for Paul Morris. Good tackle by Ella. Ron Quinn was in there too. And they've used up, 3 tackles. Over it goes for Young. He hits Brian Johnson up flat and hard. He's tackled on the 4th, just outside the 22. Across it comes. Cronin's down injured. Across it comes for Walsh, and down he goes. Parramatta tackling from memory probably. 5 tackles gone for St George. It's come across to Steve Morris. He's in behind the ruck and looking for work. There's a chance on for the Dragons, and Brian Johnson throws the pass, and it's down, and let's see, it's with Parramatta kicking it ahead as Growth, and it's with St George. That's 6 more tackles. Well, Parramatta players, some of the more experienced players.
Bad mistake that by Grove. All he had to do was fall on the ball. Instead of that, he's put his foot with it. St George have come up with another 6, and this could be dangerous.
Here's Haddock to play it. Midfield, 25 metres out from the Parramatta line. Young goes up, throws the ball. Rogers is there. He's been swamped by the Parramatta defensive line, though. Let's see. It's St George, 25 out. Brian Johnston has a go at them. They're 22 out. They've used 4 tackles, the Dragons. They're throwing everything they know at Parramatta, and Parramatta meets them with every effort. Every strain of every ounce of defence is coming out on the Eels. They lead by 6, and George knows that. Craig Young chips over the top. Peter Sterling covers. Magic take by the little man. And tackled immediately by Brian Johnston.
And Mansfield and Sharp warming up on the bench for the Parramatta side.
So away comes Neil Hunt now. Hunt is out to the 10-metre line. The clock is counting down. It's almost a replica of yesterday. 9 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. The Eels leading by 6. The loser of this one to play Souths on Saturday. The winner to take on the Top Dogs, the Bulldogs, next Sunday. It's with Phelan. He's out to the 22. And Parramatta finding plenty of metres away from the play-the-ball area now. It's come away to Peter Wynn. He's gained another 5 or 6 metres. He's met by Brian Johnston and by Craig Young. And Billy, are there some tired players out there or what?
There certainly are, and Billy Nake's on the sideline to come on for St George. Both coaches going to use all their replacements.
Sterling puts the big kick in. It's gone straight between fullback and winger. Sterling, he's not chasing this ball down with the same gusto, but they've run it 5 metres and now they can all play on. And Ella makes the tackle on Brian Johnston, or Brian Johnson, I should say. Steve Guerin is the dummy half. Goes from dummy half. Ella's got him. 2 tackles gone for the Saints. They're 25 metres out from the St George line.
And now's the time to spread it for St George. The Parramatta defence is shot to pieces on the right-hand side, but O'Grady's turned it back in, and Rogers is dirty on him. He wanted that ball on the right, and so did Steve Morris.
Muggleton making the tackle on Chris Walsh. And now they're back and they're starting to think about stretching it to the right, but the Parramatta defensive line has reset themselves. Young turns it inside for O'Grady, but St George are coming back into this Parramatta cordon of defence, coming back into the workers like Phelan and Wynn and those fellows who just blocked the middle up. And here's Stone finding an opening, looking to pass now. He does, and 21 is on for St George. Is that
Billy Note?
Is that Billy Note? He's tackled. On 5 for St George. Midway, 22 halfway. St George's end of the ground. Morris pass to Young. Young kicks and it's going out. It's going to fine touch. It bounced just inside the touchline. Taylor let it go. He bet each way, Taylor, and it's a scrum to go down. 25 metres out from the Parramatta line. Just under 8 minutes of time to go. 22-16 to Parramatta. Sterling is getting back very slowly after receiving attention. Kenny's been replaced by Ron Quinn for Parramatta. Billy Noke has gone onto the field for St George. And it's pretty hard to keep up with the action here. With players left, right and centre being replaced, it has been an absolute test of stamina as Sterling feeds the scrum, and it's come out to Parramatta. It's now with Ron Quinn. He looks for the opening, but Steve Rogers is there to shut him down. He'll play the ball 30 metres out from the Parramatta line. Ray Price passes and Peter Wynn runs. He's tackled. Midway, 22 halfway, Parramatta's into the field. Price is a dummy half. Edge said, I'll have a run. And Edge goes for a gallop. Gains about 3 metres. He's tackled and lost the ball. It's a scrum. A scrum about 12 metres into Parramatta territory. 22-16 in favour of the Eels in a classic semi-final. Very important scrum.
Well, it's a big scrum for St George, and the man they'll be looking to is their match winner, Steve Morris, who plays on the right wing, but I don't think he'll be staying there for this 6. He'll be all over the field looking for work.
Differential penalty to St George. He got the Parramatta backs for being in front of the last line of forwards prior to the ball coming out of the scrum. 6.5 minutes of time remaining. Michael Beattie will be going for everything he can find here. He does exactly that and wears it across the touchline. 5 metres out. Well, what a hair-raising finish. St George getting a set move together. Young and Stone put it on with Dowling. They didn't make any ground. The 1, the 12 and the 19 made the tackle for Parramatta.
And Morris is coming over to the middle of the field behind the play the ball.
Dowling sweeps it away. Haddock to Rogers. Rogers to Haddock. And Sterling and Ella shut the gate as Beattie goes through screaming for it. Morris gets out from dummy half. Ken Slippery pull it out for the Dragons. He's got a cordon of defence around him. And he's not tackled. Now he is. Price has got him. 12 metres out. They stretch it again to the right. And Young turns it back into the middle. But Beattie is there to be tackled by Parramatta. Right in front of the sticks. It comes left to Stone. Left to O'Grady. Right back to Walsh. Across for Beattie. Beattie is tackled by Taylor and Ella. Played there on 5. They're going to bomb it. It goes up from Craig Young. There's nobody at home. But Neil Hunter's there to rake it over the dead ball line. And it's a line drop out to bring it out again. 5 minutes to go. Sharp and Mansfield getting ready to come on for Parramatta. A heart stopper.
Yeah, how much of this can you take?
Not too much. Not too much. Not back to back anyway. I tell you what, it's a good way to go out though, if you're going to go. Drop out by Ella. Down to the halfway, taken by Brian Johnson. So the Dragons take it back and the Eels come forward. Sterling makes a tackle on Johnson. An incredible couple of days of rugby league. Brian Johnston is tackled just outside the 22. And he plays the ball back to Dowling. Across it goes to Haddock. On to Craig Young. He's able to stand, looks to unload, can't. Parramatta smothering them up. St George, second tackle. They're on the 22 line. Stone pirouettes, gets a pass away. Young's there, looks inside, finds Steve Rogers. He's tackled. There's a bit of a fisticuff on between Stone and Price in the back play. Away from dummy half goes Morris. Morris, oh, he could see the line. He could smell the grass over the line, but he couldn't put it down. Perry Haddock's the dummy half. Haddock is the dummy half. He passes to Rogers. A grubber kick through, and Taylor takes it to bed with him. Not Hill, tries to come out, but it's another line dropout. Under 4 minutes to go. These two great clubs are really serving it up to this 25,500 crowd at the cricket ground. In fact, 40,000 in total over 2 days at the SCG. Peter Wynn comes off the field.
Also Paul Mayers, and they're being replaced by Sharp and Mansfield.
40,000 people have been at the cricket ground for this double-header over the last 2 days, and I'll tell you what, it was worthy of 80,000 both days put together. Ella's drop kick. Brian Johnson takes it back again. So put it on video replay, the same as before. It's with Johnson now. He'll play it 26 metres out from the Parramatta line. And number 21, did you say it's Noak? It's Noak in 21. He plays it. Dowling runs with it. Walsh hits it up on the third tackle. 3 gone for the Dragons. I think they must be thinking about bombing shortly. They've been trying to crack them and they can't. It's gone to Haddock and gone to Young and on to Johnson. He's passed into no man's land. It's picked up out wide by slippery Steve Morris. He's held by Peter Sterling. 4 tackles gone. 10 metres out from the line. Play in the Paddington Hill corner. Away to Haddock. He stretches it to Rogers. Rogers gives it left and Stone leaves it on the ground. And Parramatta's Ray Price has got the ball. Ray Price has the ball. And Stone has punched him in the head. Well, let's have a look and see what he's going to do here. He's got to give a penalty. Touch judge has come in. Robert saying, I saw it. A bunch of 5s, to put it simply. But I think you'll find there was an exchange there between the two about 5 minutes ago that didn't help matters very much. So Parramatta taking a tap penalty, and they use Ella to take it out, and Ella, he spun out of a couple of tackles, Ella. I was about to say fancy sending him up into this St George defence, but he almost cracked them. Steve Sharp in 22 is on for Parramatta. His replacement colleague, Glenn Mansfield, will probably go for a dummy half kill. He does, and he'll nearly reach halfway, Mansfield. He's tackled just into St George territory now. He'll play the ball back for Chris Phelan to go for a run. They're not going to play anything flash, Parramatta. Absolutely. And they've got 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining to hold on to a 6-point lead against the Dragons. The ball is played by Phelan and another dummy half run from Mansfield. That's 5. Now let's look for the playmaker. Let's look for Peter Sterling. He's left of the ruck. 157, 156 is with Sterling. Up goes the bomb from Sterling. It's going straight to Johnson. Johnson comes away. It's a ring of defence around him again. And everywhere St George has been today, there's been plenty of blue and gold jumpers. The stretch is onto the right for St George. Haddock knows that. That's why it's out with Rogers now. But Rogers is held by Phelan. And he'll play the ball. 8 metres away from the St George line. They're trailing by 6, the Dragons. A long stretch of the ball to the left now. Noak gets it away. Beattie's with the ball, but he's tackled by Growth, and that's 3 tackles gone. And it's a penalty to St George. A penalty to St George. Roberts claiming that he called held, and Beattie takes a quick penalty and finds it just outside the 22 line. The timepiece, it shows that there's 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining now. And this is St George's last chance. Stone to play it. Tackled by Mansfield and by Muggleton. Played back to Dowling. Given to Haddock. On to Rogers. Across to Beattie. Run around back to Rogers. Now to Johnson. Hunter saying somebody take the inside. It's with Morris. Morris is taken by Hunt and put into touch. Bone-jarring tackle in the last 60 seconds of play. Quinn, Hunt and Price all in the tackle. 36 seconds of time remaining now. A match worthy of a grand final. All the atmosphere, all the excitement of tries being scored, tackles being made, and absolute guts personified, shown by both teams. Sterling to feed this scrum. And it doesn't worry Parramatta how long it takes them. The clock's still counting. Coming down to the last 10 seconds. So it's going to be the Eels versus the Bulldogs and the Dragons versus the Rabbits. And there's the scrum, won by Parramatta. There's the siren, and it's all over. This big semi-final between these two great rugby league clubs is over. A thrill a minute. You wouldn't see as many thrills anywhere in any sporting arena, anywhere in the world, than you would have hoped to have seen here today. And they provided it. And how? tremendous performance by two tremendously talented teams. And now they've played 3 matches this year. That's a total of 260 minutes of football. And would you believe there's still only 3 points between them. We'll take a break at this point in time, and we'll be back. Or have we got cameras in the room? No, we're going to take a break. In fact, the cameramen are too tired as well. And we'll have the man of the match with Billy Anderson in the dressing room in just a moment.